Hi again, people. Well, I'm going to take apart this Sig. This is the Sig that Sam just bought. Here's my tools I'm going to use to take this apart. I need some good vice grips, large hammer, and some good strong needle nose. I'm only kidding. I don't need any of this crap. I just pulled this out here because somebody would be like, "What's he got all this?" I actually had to use my my pliers for something, so I pulled it out. So am I getting that moving light? I am. And I wasn't getting it when I stood out of here. See, when I'm out of the picture, it's not there. And when I go in it, I guess it is moving a little bit. Man, this light thing is really difficult. If I shine the light right on it, it gets worse. So that's the light shining right on it. See it moving, that shadow? So if I shine a light up in the air, it gets a little less. Still there. Now both of them are in the air, it's still there. Somebody said something about a diffuser. Man, now it's even worse. That might have done it a little bit, huh? Nope, still there. Man, this light stuff is really freaking a pain in the butt. If I shine a light right on the object, it gets worse. So I'm just going to try and shine them both up in the air. Still there, not as bad. Y'all see that shadow? Wow, that's pretty amazing the way that just moves around like that. Alright, we're going to have to do that. Sorry, people. The shadow's just going to have to move across. So, I said I sold this Sig. I'm really kind of bummed because this is a great firearm. And I wanted to show how to take apart these mags. I already pulled the grips off. I cleaned the screws. I took a little thing in here and really got in those little grooves. Every once in a while, a good pipe cleaner in your screws. If you take them out, put some oil in there and give them a rub down, you'll get, this is probably the one I used right there. It's got a little bit of brown. I wouldn't say there was any rust in there, but it's just like that surface rust. So if you lock this gun to the rear, it puts it right in the right spot to flip that down. And then when you let it go, it comes off. Should be nice and clean. Ooh, should be no problem there. Spring comes out and the barrel comes out. Pretty stinking simple. This is a neglected area. Always want to get some good oil and get down in this little tube right here and really clean that tube all the way down to the bottom. Barrel should look pretty good there. I got good oil all around it. I'm going to put a little bit of oil because I let it set overnight and the oil kind of soaked in a little bit. So it was a little bit oily. You're going to see what it looks like when I get done with it. So this is pretty much the breakdown. It is a clean. I had the grips off, so I was able, I guess I could pull the grips off real quick for you to show you the internal. I don't put the grips that tight, and because this was like made in Germany, everything is very finely tuned. I mean, I can barely even back the screw and the screws fit so nice. So we have the two screws there, which were totally clean, and then you have the grip here, which just kind of pops off from the rear there, and then it comes right out. So I got a Q-tip in here, and I cleaned all this, all down here on both sides. Cleaned the little screw holes with some, and I used brake free on this one. Damn. What the hell? Damn thing didn't want to come up. So when I get a little brake free on here, where the screws go, you want to get a good drip of oil in there because your screws are going to go in there. But you can clean all the inside. I cleaned all this spring. I mean, this thing is freaking, you're not going to get any dirt anywhere in here. I mean, I have really gone over this gun like I would like to get a gun, nice and clean. And underneath these little things are neglected areas because people don't get in there and they don't really pull these off, so you always want to make sure those are good and cleaned up. But this thing is, because this thing spins, a lot of people don't clean it a lot. Very, very nice and smooth. It's a little piece in there that flips back and forth that locks it in. And when you get a little oil on there, it moves very nicely. Alrighty, so let me get my grip back on. Also clean the interior of the grips to make sure there's no rust, because sometimes people pull their grips off, clean their gun, and they don't clean the inside of the grip. Then you have little rust or things in here that when you put it back on, you automatically start the rust process again. So make sure you clean inside. Same thing with any holes. Get some good oil in there. You want to remove any rust or dirt that's in the holes. And then we'll put this back on. Fits in there nice. And like I said, I always back my screws before I put them in. On these, I can't even hear the click. There's a little click. I guess I heard it that time. Woo! Wouldn't be a gun video unless I dropped something. No click. But when I start screwing, it's going to go right down. You know you have a fine... and again, I don't tighten these that much. Some people like their grips really tight because I cleaned mine enough. You don't want to strip these out, and I mean, I don't know what the torque is, but... So anyway, this gun is clean. Did the spring. Interior, I did not pull out the firing pin. I did put some oil down the firing pin in here, but I have not pulled out the firing pin or the extractor. And then the barrel. So I'm going to put this back together, and then I'm going to work on a magazine. The Sig, you notice it has a full-length guide. A lot of people will cut the guide to here to where you only put it on here. Glock only has 4 little guide rails on it. This Sig is full length of the slide, so you have to go all the way from the end, and it goes all the way on. Really nice. I didn't put that back down because I was cleaning it, so it won't go back on. This has to be... This is stopping it, so I'll open it back up, open that back up, slide it back on, move it back to where it's supposed to go, push that forward. Man, this is a nice gun, I'm telling you. I freaking love this Sig. I hate getting rid of it. Double action or single action? So this is double action. This is single action. Really nice gun. God, I'm going to miss it because I really love that gun. Okay, so let's take apart a magazine. I've already taken these apart and cleaned them. If you'll notice, there's a little bitty, different magazines have different ways. A lot of magazines, this piece down here, you can't remove it. The only way to remove it is to take tension off the spring. And you can't take tension off the spring because it has the spring pushing the follower up. So this is a really kind of one of the, you know, I do a lot of 1911s, so a lot of 1911s don't even have this part. So there's 2 ways to take this apart. One way how I usually do it is I get something to push down the spring, and then I have a pin of some sort that I'm going to put in one of these holes in order to stop the spring from decompressing. So we're going to push this down. I put this in between the spring. Then when I let it go, the follower stays back. So now I want that follower to come out on its own. You bang on it, it comes up. It falls out now. It wouldn't fall out before I had cleaned it. So this follower that was in there holding the spring tension now comes out. So once you get this out, when I pulled this out, the spring pops out. Once I pull the spring out, it makes this butt plate on the magazine slide off. So what's holding this butt plate is this little bitty hook right here on a Sig. So when it goes in there, it kind of locks in that little piece right there. You see that little piece right there? I don't know if that's coming out. There's a little piece and it hooks right into there. And then this is what it looks like when it's together with the butt plate on it. So the butt plate holds a little spring, the spring holds it in, butt plate won't come off, the magazine's secure. If that's out, the magazine is secure. Now the other way to get these open is if I have this little spring here and I have something small enough that I can get in here, I can literally, I'm going to push this side plate forward if I push this spring out of the way. This won't go forward because the spring's in the way. But if I can get the little spring tension pushed down enough, I could slide the plate forward by pushing that little spring down right there, and now this plate will slide off, catch your spring, and the spring comes out, and then you pull the spring out this way and the follower will fall out. So there's two ways to take this apart. Putting it back together, I've already oiled these and cleaned these, is the reverse. You put your follower in, you put your spring in. This spring will only go in one way, which is nice because it's got this little hook and you know it goes in this little edge right here. So if you put the spring in backwards, you'll know it. The spring, the hook is on the wrong side. That should be fitting right there. So when you engineer something nice, it only goes back one way, what makes it a lot easier for reassemble. So now I have to get this plate on these little rail followers. So what I do is you just push the spring down enough to get the plate over that. I'm going to get the plate over it, use this to kind of help hold it down. Trying to keep it on camera is a pain in the butt. It's really not that hard once you do it. So once I get the plate on there like that, it holds the spring in. So now I have to get this little spring in that little slot right there so I can close this plate. And sometimes it goes in easy and sometimes it doesn't. Ah, it was almost there. Hopefully I'm keeping that in camera. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll get a screwdriver and kind of push that in so it goes in there. So I can get this. See, didn't go over because the spring went in. I'm telling you people, trying to keep this on camera so you guys can see is the hard part. There it is. Then when I push that in there, you want to make sure that little, you notice the spring did not go in here and my slide plate still moves. So you want to make sure when you get that in there, take a little pin or something to make sure that that spring goes back into, oh, just popped in. Goes back into that lock, so it locks your plate. But that's how you get access to the interior of these so you can make sure they're nice and cleaned. People neglect their mags and they don't clean their mags. Glock mags come apart a little bit easier, different mags come apart different ways. But you want, and normally what I do is I put just a patch on a cleaning cloth and I just get in there. And I put some oil on it and I give it a good cleaning on the interior so it's got a good oil coating. A lot of people don't clean their mags, man. When I take apart mags, the mags are freaking filthy. So I'm going to put this magazine back together. We'll put the butt plate in first. Put the spring in. I know the spring goes the right way because that little hook's got to be on that side. Push this down so I can get the plate started. The plate is started. Now I got to get this little wire into the little clip, which I missed. Got it. But the plate wasn't right. There you go. So the plate goes in. Close the plate. That didn't slap in. I want to make sure that little clip gets in there. Take me a little screwdriver and make sure that gets pushed in where it's supposed to be. And now that clipped in. Magazine's back together, nice and clean. Put a little coat of oil on it before I pack it up. I'm actually going to pack it up right here in front of you, so the guy knows this gun's coming. So I'm going to get a little bit of oil on these, because this is what these look like last night when I oiled them down. They had a nice coat of oil. But you look at them today and they're dry, because that oil just absorbed into it, the metal, and gave it a good protective coating. So I'm going to put one more coat of oil before I stick it in the package to fly to him. So to make sure that he, not that this gun would rust in the package, but you don't know what the hell the post office is going to do. They may drop these damn things in the ocean and drag them for a week before they deliver it. So I want this thing with a good coat of oil on it. And then when I wrap it in a cloth, it's going to take some of the oil off, but nice. Look at that Sig. Ooh, that's a good looking gun. Woo! Look at that. That's music to my ears. Smooth. Woo, doggies. Man. Made in West Germany. Nice freaking gun. Ah! I hate parting with a nice machine that I've had for a long time. But you know what? It is what it is. I think I got a fair price. Hopefully he thinks he got a fair price. Here's one of my cloths that I just cleaned yesterday. One of my fiber cloths, I did a video. So I'm going to wrap this in this fiber cloth. Put my mag in here to where it drops right in there and it'll hold it. That goes there. This goes here. And then it's going to go in this box. And I'll probably put another piece of styrofoam around there just to make sure it fits really tight in here and gives good protection. And then I'll fold this box up and he's going to send me a label. And I'm going to send him his Sig. And I'm going to cry when I drop it off at the post office, because I'm just sentimental about my guns. Alrighty. So, I'm going to do a shotgun video next, but I'll go change the battery and go from there. Alright, so that's cleaning your Sig and taking apart your mags.